Onorato and Miller, it's Chris, it's Ash. If you're watching this on a Sunday morning, there are a number of people who find us Sunday morning, 6 a.m. on News Channel 13. Good for you people. You are contributing to society at an early hour on a Sunday.
They're not contributing to society by watching our show.
Oh. Well, they're getting their day going.
Yeah,
it takes a little bit of time. That's impressive. Anyway, if you are watching us on Sunday morning on News Channel 13 from 6 to 7 a.m., then you are 2 weeks away from Selection Sunday.
Ooh.
That's really the best I've got for you people. It is, I know, we want to sell the NFL Combine and all this stuff, and we will a little bit here, but let's face it. We feel like we're in a little bit of a dead period in sports. For as much as we love college basketball and the NBA, we got to get to Selection Sunday to really feel good, I think. All right, we've got what's coming out of Indianapolis in the way of rumors, be it the Combine itself or just teams talking, and that injuries revolves around maybe Matthew Stafford, quarterback, could be on the move from LA. We've got NBA news. We've got college basketball news. We've got news from Tokyo. We are an international program. Let's go.
This is Onorato and Miller, sponsored by Alpen House.
House, Marcella's, Bev's, Novice, Performance Industrial. I will be with the Performance Industrial crew on Saturday for the inaugural. Well, it's not the inaugural because I think they used to do them on Lake Desolation outhouse races. On Lake Desolation, Tinny's Tavern, Bill Miller, Sean Wilcox, and that.
I'm not going to be there, but I am so excited for you.
Sam, we see you, buddy. Thanks for always joining us. Carol, you as well. Now, Sam says maybe the worst time for a sports fan, March Madness and the Masters. Yeah. Let's get us to. Here's the beautiful thing. Football gets us through most of the worst of winter.
Yeah.
Now we've got to survive until Selection Sunday. Sam points out the Masters, first weekend in March, to get us feeling like we're out of winter. We're close to spring. Let's get to this here. And, the rumors start going. The conversations are being had around this time because it's post-Super Bowl. Nothing can officially happen with the league year still yet to start for 25, 26. Mm-hmm. But we do know the Giants met with Matthew Stafford's agent, and there's nothing untoward about that because the Rams have given Stafford and his agent permission to seek a trade, or at least have the conversations. So we know the Giants have met with Stafford's agent. Mm-hmm. We know that Tom Brady ran into Matthew Stafford on a mountain in Montana.
Oh, because of all places, mountains in Montana.
And remember, the trade that sent Stafford from Detroit to LA happened. Anyway, it's credited this way because Stafford ran into Sean McVay, I think in Cabo or somewhere like that offseason. They started talking. Stafford demands a trade. They figure out a way to package golf and some picks together. They get Stafford. They win a Super Bowl.
A resort in Cabo feels a little more likely than a mountain in Montana.
Oh, maybe. So anyway, minority owner of the Raiders, Tom Brady, reportedly had some conversations with some people in Stafford's camp. Giants, Raiders, there have been some other teams linked to potentially trying to get Matthew Stafford. I think Stafford's best option is to stay in LA.
Yeah.
But look, if his wife is that unhappy, Kupp will probably be traded, but you can figure it out. You got Puka Nacua, you got Kyron Williams. Mm-hmm. The defense is pretty good. It's young, exciting. You've got Sean McVay. Mm-hmm. Pete Carroll in Vegas. Okay. Look, if you don't like Los Angeles, okay, because there are all these reports out there that Kelly Stafford is not happy in LA. If you don't like Los Angeles, I don't think you're going to like Las Vegas. That doesn't.
that's-
I don't know that I'm trading
probably
the
true.
City of Angels for Sin City. That one doesn't seem to line up for me. New Jersey's lovely. You end up at the Giants. But I don't know.
Not surrounded by a lot of talent, but
No, you've got work to do there. But if you're
Las
Joe
Vegas isn't that
Shane,
much better.
no, and Matt Dable, Brian Dable, who's Matt Dable?
I don't know.
If you're Joe Shane and Brian Dable, this is your shot.
Mhm.
You have to win next year, or you will be fired. Even if you draft a quarterback at 3, if you don't win quickly, you're gone. Look at what Washington did with Jaden Daniels. Okay, rookie quarterbacks have won. Look at what C.J. Stroud did as a rookie in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
I know Caleb Williams in Chicago, fine. But guess what? Eberflus was fired.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter now. Teams are not going to say, hey, you've got a rookie quarterback. We're going to give you time. Doesn't work like that anymore.
Eberflus wouldn't have been fired. Maybe wouldn't have been fired if he didn't totally botch that game.
What did they lose? Like 10 in a row at
Yeah,
some
I mean,
point?
it got bad. It got bad, but does it get bad?
Williams wasn't showing progress, right? He was regressing in a lot of ways. Teams just don't have the same patience anymore.
Yeah,
Rookie
I agree.
quarterbacks can win in this league. That has become the expectation. It is no longer sit for a few years and that'll be great. It is, let's get out there and win. And so I think even if the Giants draft Cam Ward, the expectation will be to win. Anyway, if you're the Giants, do you want Matthew Stafford? Does that make you better? If you're the Raiders, does that make you better?
It makes both teams better. I don't know who he's got to throw to, but it certainly makes you better at the most important position on the field.
And Sam, heads up, here's the dovetail. Aaron Rodgers says his preference is to play for the Rams and that he would try to bring Devontae Adams with him.
Well, that's not like
I like that for the Rams, honestly.
after last year, I don't know that like Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers together is
Yeah,
like this
I don't know
big
either.
selling point.
No, me neither. But if you're Sean McVay and I can't keep Matthew Stafford,
It's a good next option.
I'll take a shot at things with Rodgers. Has a home in Malibu. Like, yeah, okay, let's go. That one could make some sense out there. Mark, good evening. Queensbury.
All right.
Love the Q. Best bet is to say no. I agree, Mark.
Yeah, me too.
100%. I think that makes the most sense for Stafford and the Rams together.
And now, Dirty, Difficult, and Done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
All right, Ash, you're up. Performance Industrials, dirty, difficult, done.
Travis Kelce. I didn't think he'd be done, but he's not. He's not done. Tells Pat McAfee he's going to play in 25-26. I call it 25-26. I think most people, because the season ends in the 26th year. I always think it's interesting. I get confused when someone says, oh, they won the 25 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It'll be the 24
in February
Super Bowl. But
yeah.
so the Eagles won the 24 Super Bowl in February of 25.
Yeah.
It's going to confuse me later on down the line.
Mm-hmm.
So I put it in.
You want confusing, then say they won Super Bowl LIX and tell me which Super Bowl that is. Brutal.
Well,
brutal.
You know, people who can do Roman numerals are okay like at that. But yeah, I do it like school years because now my mind works in school years. 25. So that's a 25-26 school year.
Yeah. And season, they play into January, like you said, regular season games. Yeah.
Yeah. And Super Bowl into February. So done coming off the worst season of his career. Listen, the Super Bowl was bad. 4 catches, like 39 yards, I think he went for total. But this is a guy who, despite the stats, go ahead, you can show him. These are his stats. Not great, but the 97 receptions was a team high. So clearly they were targeting him. Maybe they weren't targeting him for long distances. He's a tight end. That's not what he does. It's the worst statistical year of his career since his rookie year when he only played 1 game. And it's still not that awful. They just happen to have plenty more weapons to throw to in the end zone, which is why he only had 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, maybe. Mahomes didn't have a great year statistically, and Kelce's not the same guy. He's still a serviceable tight end. But if the Chiefs fool themselves and go to next year with Kelce as TE1, bad on them. He's not that player. He can work the middle of the field, not going to win many one-on-one matchups probably anymore, but he can work the middle of the field, zone defenses, and he is that kind of, I hate the phrase security blanket. It's overused, but for Patrick Mahomes, he is that.
Yeah.
And there's 1 year left on his contract, right? So
it's a hefty one.
Come $11.5 million, right? Or is that the signing bonus?
That's the signing.
Come back and
roster bonus.
Come back and play. And what concerns me is the comment Kelce made, I can't go out like that. Well, the odds of Kansas City winning the Super Bowl next year, generally not good. I understand they may be like second pick in Vegas, but really to go win that thing is difficult. We know that. And for him to have a better season than he did in 2024-5, probably not going to happen either.
Yeah.
So the whole, I'm not going out like that, you should have walked away another year if you were worried about being like a year ago, if you were worried about being kind of on the top of your game. But I never anymore criticize when players should retire. If the team wants a player to play and the player wants to play, go play.
Yeah, how about it?
I'm done saying somebody should have retired. I'm done with that. I just don't do it anymore.
The one thing that bothered me, I saw a play and it got real hot on Twitter because I think it was like people just were like, what is this? In the Super Bowl of Patrick Mahomes running for his life for like 20 seconds. And it was almost like Travis Kelce never moved his feet.
He's old and
tired. He never touched anyone, never tried to block anyone, never acted like he cared even a little bit. It's the Super Bowl. So if you're not going out like that, you didn't do your job in the first place. Like those are the plays that you have to keep making to make me believe that you actually want to continue playing. Like, do you actually want to play? You just want the $11.5 million to go out there and shuffle your feet a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, maybe.
Could just ride off into the Taylor Swift sunset.
That dude does not put a ring on it. You won't need to do another thing in your life.
Carol asked the question, why doesn't Rodgers just retire?
He doesn't want to go out like that either.
There it is. That's exactly it. Right. I mean, the experiment with the Jets was a complete disaster. I just think that I think we've talked about this on the show. Is Rodgers doing too much damage to not his legacy, okay, but how he will be remembered? The last 3-4 years have been rough for reputation and on-field performance.
The reputation's never been great. Let's be clear.
Yep.
It's never been great. It's gotten worse in the second half of his career for sure, because he's become very difficult, very arrogant. Doesn't want to play nice in the sandbox, doesn't want to be treated like everyone else, wants to be treated differently. That's not a way to ingratiate yourself to your coaches, your fans, your teammates, none of that. But yeah, he annoys me. And like, listen, at the end of the day, you're going to be remembered, and good for you for winning one Super Bowl. And nowadays,
but that's not a positive.
That's what I mean. Okay. Nowadays, that's not enough.
Yeah.
So not only were you a problem, you only won one Super Bowl. Even Eli Manning won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, I think the people who watched, I don't know how this turned into this, but I think the people who watched Aaron Rodgers will be able to say to the next generation of people who maybe only, find the McAfee clips or the documentaries on Amazon, or Netflix, I think is where it is. He was, at his height, the most skilled quarterback I've ever seen play the sport.
Holy smokes. Oh.
Now, you're going to get a little pushback for Patrick Mahomes, and maybe it should be Mahomes. So I'll put Rodgers top 2. His accuracy, people don't realize the mobility he had. He was not a running quarterback, but he was a mobile quarterback for sure. But the way he mastered the back shoulder throw, his arm strength down the middle of the field, his ability to change plays at the line of scrimmage.
We talked about that.
And again, when you look at the touchdown to interception ratio, the guy was on another level historically at that position that, again, from just a talent and skill standpoint, he was unbelievable. He just didn't make plays in the big moments other than that Super Bowl against the Steelers. He didn't even play well in that NFC Championship game against the Chicago Bears. In that Super Bowl, he was great. But boy, there were a lot of disappointing playoff performances.
Yeah, and I think we talked about it. He was very skilled. Extended plays. Like, wasn't a running quarterback, but extended plays.
Yep.
Got out of the pocket when he had to.
Yep.
Was creative. And I think that's where, not as creative as Patrick Mahomes,
Right.
because no one has ever been that creative before, but was creative and played, like we talk about the games that he plays off the field. He played mind games on the field with other people. He would chirp. He would, at the line of scrimmage, was as talented as anyone at drawing people off sides, exposing the defense, 12 men on the field, and taking advantage of those situations, like hitting big shots downfield on those plays, or then getting, the yardage. So no one has ever done that better, but he will never be discussed as just like one of the great winners of all time. Never.
Well, yeah, and even one of the great quarterbacks of all time, like, I don't think he's going to survive to be a top 5 quarterback.
No.
In my opinion, to be a top 5 quarterback, you've got to have multiple rings. That's where the conversation starts. Okay, who has won multiple Super Bowls?
Right.
Now we can proceed with putting together our top 5, which begins with 1, Tom Brady, 2, Patrick Mahomes.
And like, listen, Eli Manning's won 2 Super Bowls. He'll never be in the conversation of top 10 quarterbacks of all time.
Right. Couldn't even get in on first ballot.
Right.
That's the conversation.
We already did that one.
This is coming out of the NFL Combine here. Penn State's pass rusher Abdul Carter has a stress reaction in
I don't
his
really
right
know what
foot.
that means.
Me neither. I know stress fracture.
Me too.
I don't know stress reaction. But there was talk about maybe needing surgery and inserting a screw to be preemptive here and avoid maybe any issues down the line. Well, he's been cleared to participate in Penn State's Pro Day, so there will not be surgery pre-draft, presumably. He's not going to work out at the Combine, but many players don't anymore.
Right.
And
but he has a Pro Day. It'll be a big Pro Day.
Yeah, those things are. And Colorado's Travis Hunter says it's super important.
Those things are what, though?
To be top pick.
Because it'll be a big Pro Day for him, because he's going to have to go show that he can physically do a lot of things.
Yeah, the Pro Day is so stupid to me. It's throwing, catching, running against no defense. It's set up in a way by your university, your team, for you to only be successful. Just watch the freaking games.
Well, but that's the point, is like, go run on the field with your foot. This now becomes important for him, because it's like, hey, we need to see that you're not limping, that you can cut, that you can do all these things. It's the only reason. They know he can cover, like, he can break through, as a defensive lineman through an offensive line. They've seen all the tape. They just want to see that he's physically well and able to be out on the field. So it becomes more important for him than other people.
He is, been linked to the Titans in a number of mock drafts to be the number 1 overall pick. Interesting to me. I think Hunter is just the most talented guy. And I think at some point you'd say, who's the best player in this draft? Oh, it's him. Take him. We'll find a way to use him. That being Travis Hunter, wide receiver or tight end. All right, let's take a break here on Onorato and Miller. When we come back, Luka and LeBron are having fun in LA. Should the rest of the NBA be worried? Another basketball legend calls it a career. Will anyone win? I love this question. Will anyone win more Olympic gold medals than this now
basketball player.
Retired player? Correct. Yeah, right.
Swimmers, they don't count.
Yeah, only basketball players. Exactly. Fun conversation. We're back right after this on O Now.
Great memories start with Alpenhaus. Amsterdam, Clifton Park, and High Adventure in Latham.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bev's, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bev's. At the end of the day, if you walk in your stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
All right, Ash. Luka and LeBron in LA, but this is what's getting the headlines today as we do the show live on a Thursday. You knew this wasn't going to just
Go away.
Yeah, be okay, great, everybody go to your separate corners. Good luck the
Play
rest of
nice.
your career. We've got Anthony Davis.
Well,
You've
they've
got
also
LA
played.
and LeBron.
They've
And
also played a couple times already.
once, and Luka played well. Not great, but he played well. He had a triple-double. Go ahead.
in Dallas.
Not yet. That's coming.
Didn't they just go to Dallas? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that'll be fun when it happens. Luka had 19 points. It might have been 10 and 10. He had a triple-double. Anyway, the report that's out now is that some of the reason for and we everybody said he's out of shape. He doesn't take his fitness seriously. Okay, a couple more details here about what that means exactly.
Sure.
Reportedly, his taste for beer and hookah were concerning to the Mavericks. He's 25 years old. He is not in the greatest shape you've ever seen, and that would concern me as he gets into his early 30s. But that's 6 and 7 years from now. James Harden has never been the picture of fitness.
Perfection.
And look, I wouldn't want, if you said to me, Luka Doncic is going to perform like James Harden, that doesn't sell me on him as a player and a winner. I'm just talking body type here. And Harden has been uber successful statistically in this league, despite not always being the most in shape person on the planet. But this now just kind of reeks of
It's a smear
desperation
it's not
to
like...
try to win your fans back over if you're the Mavericks here, right?
I mean, listen, what 25-year-old doesn't have a taste for one, the other, or both of those things these days? Like, I get it. He's a professional basketball player. He also could have the body type that just, unless he spent 24/7 working on it, maybe he's not going to be this like shredded dude.
Well,
He just might be a little doughier, and that's going to be his body type. Can the guy play basketball? Like, that's all I'm really worried about.
yeah, yes, okay. The doughy thing, I think you can work. I'm not asking you to be shredded, jacked, cut out of your mind, but you can present a more in shape.
He's not fat.
He's not fat. He's not in shape.
So you want him cut, not shredded.
No, I want him lean, and
That's what I mean. Like, maybe that dude can't get lean.
I don't know. The concern is if you're around him as much as the Mavericks would have been. The concern is I don't see this guy taking his fitness seriously. He is only 25, but when he's 27 and 28, are there injuries now that he just struggles with because his body is a little too heavy to perform at a high level? You get the calf injury and a quad and a groin and those lower body injuries. Go ahead.
Have they met Anthony Davis?
Well, I understand
the dude is
that.
in shape and he's as injury prone as anybody. So
Yes.
like if that's it, then that's not it.
But there's also you have to also tie in the fact that Luka was max contract extension eligible. And so you're like, do I want to pay this guy $60+ million a year?
I get it.
It's all part of it.
I get it.
This I don't love, right? We've already kind of established why the Mavericks moved on. And now there seems to just be more leaking from that organization.
That doesn't really surprise me.
Mike's watching. Mike.
Hi, Mike.
Good evening, buddy. Here's what Luka has done since joining the Lakers. 29 minutes per game. And early on, he was on a real minutes count. 19, 9, and 7. And it was the game against the Nuggets on a Saturday night. Pretty sure you had a Firewolves game. I was sitting here at home, and I watched that game, and I thought, man, this looks like it could work short-term, Luka and LeBron. Luka runs the offense.
Yeah.
LeBron doesn't have to be as ball dominant as he had to be with AD on that team and on the floor. They look like they could have some fun.
You have one of the greatest old stars and one of the greatest young stars in the game of basketball, both of whom are potentially top 10 players.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So what do you, I mean, and I get like you never know if it's going to work, but there's so much talent to be had. And I just think like LeBron's probably at the point in his career where he's kind of like, you know what? Let's see what happens.
Yeah. They're not going to win the NBA championship. They won't get to the NBA finals. I think they're a second round exit team in the Western Conference playoffs, but they could surprise and win 2 series. I would bet against that, but they'll be fun to watch. I think that much anyway, right? Like at least for a year or two, they could be fun to watch.
It's time for the MVP of the month, sponsored by Marcella's Appliance Center.
Johnny Marcella and our guy Nick Madelone over at Marcella's Appliance Center with our monthly, obviously, MVP of the month. It is Diana Taurasi, Ash, or as Whoopi Goldberg on The View called Diana Taurasi.
No.
So Taurasi responded with, "Thanks, Whoopi. Nice to see you."
She, like in person?
Live TV?
God.
I think that show's live. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's so bad. I mean, even if it's live to tape, like.
Yeah, fix it. Right. And obviously it was.
But that's
live.
so bad.
Yeah. Anyway, is Taurasi the GOAT of women's basketball? Would you say she is? So who's the greatest female basketball player? And, look, I'm not going to get into the weeds of when Serena Williams was upset about being asked if she's the greatest women's tennis player of all time. Mm-hmm. Why can't I just be the greatest tennis player of all time?
Yeah.
Because Roger Federer would beat you. That's why. But is Taurasi the greatest female basketball player of all time?
I'm sure plenty of people would say no.
Ooh, okay.
She might.
I mean, we can discuss who's in the running here if we want to talk this thing out here, because the old heads,
are going to say Cheryl Miller, Cheryl Swoops, Cynthia Cooper. Like, there are plenty of names that will come up.
Yep.
When it comes to winning and longevity at every level, I think she's the greatest of all time. I don't know.
Quinn Cantera, they say yes.
I don't know that if we're talking like just basketball skill, that she's ever going to blow the doors off and wow you like some of those other names we just threw out there. But she's
maybe even a Brianna Stewart.
Yep. All she's done is win in her whole career.
Yeah. And so, look, you throw some of her credentials in here.
It's absurd.
3 titles in the WNBA, the league's all-time leading scorer, won 3 titles at UConn, 6-time Olympic gold medalist. Now, Taurasi's 42.
42.
So think about how many Olympics she has squeezed in to the 20 years, right? Because you're going to play 4 years in college, and now you're 20 years removed from that, and you've won 6 gold medals. And so I love your question here. Will any basketball player ever eclipse? I would say, can any basketball player even match Taurasi's 6?
And my
medals?
Quick answer is no. Like I don't even, when I said it, when I wrote it, I thought not a chance, especially the way that people play now. Mm-hmm. It feels like they're retiring earlier. They're a little more load management sensitive, but people also aren't going to play they're not going to be good enough to play on Team USA at 38, 39, 40 years old somewhere down the line.
Okay. Yeah, the second
So many
and
gold-
middle
that's so
point
many
in
gold
there
medals.
is just simply players don't choose to play that many Olympic games.
Like she's 42 and she's just retiring.
And so if I asked you who has the second most basketball Olympic gold medals, who would you say?
Subert.
It is. Subert has 5.
I mean, they're one and the same. Like they get compared all the time.
Kevin Durant has the most on the men's side. He has 4. He's not playing in the Olympics 4 years from now, 3 years from now.
And even if he does,
So
he's not playing.
4 is the
another
max.
4 from that.
Right. I looked up the list of players after him who may be reasonably young enough. Jason Tatum has 2. He's already 26 years old.
He'll play 2 more.
So he's 29 or 30 by the next time in LA, right?
Mhm.
And then he's
33
33 or 34.
Even if he plays in 5.
That would get him to 4 golds.
And that also.
And if he played right, like, and I just don't think you're going to get 3 more Olympics out of Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
So I started thinking beyond that. Okay, Cooper Flagg. Cooper Flagg is 18. He won't turn 19 until December of this year. So he'll be 21 by the time we get to the Olympics in LA. I would imagine he's on that team.
Mhm.
Can Cooper Flagg play 6 Olympic games between his 21st year and 6
So it's
times
really
4 is
only-
24? There's no way he'd be.
But you don't have to go a full 24 years because you really only have to go 20 years, right? Because you have to play 5 more
Okay.
beyond that. So 20. So that's possible. But he'd still have to be 41 when he's playing.
Right.
Nobody's doing it.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. And that's what I'm like. It was a quick, easy no for me.
And now Taurasi didn't really play,
no,
right?
But
This last round, she was on the roster and she got the gold.
Mhm.
Great. But right, to still be an active player at 41
she was playing in the WNBA.
in the NBA,
Mhm. Yeah.
just no. The
Nobody
answer
else
is
is
no. No one's
LeBron.
going to get there.
Yeah, I agree. Like it's an incredible accomplishment.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the more incredible accomplishments that we've talked
And
about.
respect to her for always wanting
Mhm.
to play, right? To take on that load of practice, workouts during the summer while you're not in season. Well, you're in season with the WNBA, but you know what I mean? Adding that where a lot of NBA guys have said, like
Yeah.
Steph Curry and you know I love Steph Curry. He just played in the Olympics for the first time in Paris.
Yeah, it's not the same.
Crazy.
I think the women care about it more than the men do. I think that care has returned. It used to be a thing to play, like back in the Dream Team days.
Yeah.
I think for the women, it still is a thing. For the men, it's like, yeah, I got my money, I have titles.
And look, as we've
I'm
seen, the world has caught up. I mean,
Right.
you needed some
It's not a
miraculous
guarantee.
games
Yeah.
from Steph Curry and then LeBron James
Mhm.
and Kevin Durant. 3 aging superstars who won't be there in LA to win that gold. Like 2028 is far from a guarantee. All right, we're back in a minute here on Onorato and Miller. The Evans crew, who we've talked about on this show, Sean and Seamus, the father-son running duo, they're in Tokyo. They will become the first tandem runners in Tokyo Marathon history, courtesy of ASICS. We will talk about that a little bit. We've got some great pictures, courtesy of Sean Evans from their time in Tokyo so far. So let me get this straight. If people are watching this show on Sunday morning on News Channel 13,
Yeah.
they've already run the Tokyo Marathon on U.S. time.
They have.
Okay. All right. We'll show you the pictures anyway because they're pretty cool. Also, some NFL rule changes potentially coming. Will it include the tush push? Do we think it's a good idea to eliminate that play
You've just given it away.
from the NFL. Back in a minute.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
The great thing about novices, no matter who you are, they're going to put all the detail in the world into your brand. I feel like they have been a big part of my success, making me feel comfortable.
This is Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Claim your crown.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alphen House.
We had that first down that wasn't in the AFC Championship game between the Bills and Chiefs. And not that this will be any consolation to Bills fans. But the NFL says it is going to start using its virtual measuring system in 2025. It is a technology that the league used in the background last year. So it was being used. We just didn't see it or know a lot about it.
So like being used when they would review back in New York or wherever, like being used up in the booth, like, or, you know, when they call down.
This is a system that can automatically or quickly tell the referees on the field whether or not it was a first down. Now, it's not a chip in the ball and a chip on the, I don't know how you'd even do it anyway.
Also,
we talk about it like it's easy.
All
but
that
it's
depends
not.
on where the knee is. Not even,
Correct.
you know, like
Yeah,
even a chip wouldn't matter
Right.
because it matters where the knee is down, not where the ball is at.
There's no real easy fix here. A chip in the ball would have helped with the Josh Allen sneak in Kansas City because he never really went down. But anyway, they're still going to manually spot the ball, but they will use this technology, which is not super clear how it works, to try to clean up some of the first down, not first down stuff.
I mean, for me,
we're taking baby steps here.
yeah, I also just think, like, for me, this is a game of, and I get it, it's a game of inches, but it's also, for my money, calling a down and like spotting a ball every single play is one of the most difficult jobs for a referee.
Yeah.
People are running, you have multiple bodies crossing, you're looking for a knee and a ball. Good luck.
You're guessing.
Yeah, like
You're guessing.
it's the most inexact science that there could ever be.
Yeah.
So unless you're gonna every time, you know, use video replay and like deep, 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 frame by frame, like this is
Right. And I would argue that line judges do a really good job.
Really good job.
But they're guessing.
Really good job.
You don't know with, to your point, an exactitude that's where the ball should, but it's close enough. We all accept it the same way we have forever with balls and strikes.
Yeah.
That's close enough. The guy's throwing 98. It's moving. How does the human eye really know? It's close enough. Call it a strike. Now we have gotten into the automated strike system.
Sure.
We're going to eventually get there in the NFL with some kind of technology that tells us whether or not that ball crossed a certain line, be it the goal line or the line to gain.
But think about how much less impeded an umpire's vision is looking at a ball and strike than looking for a knee, a ball in front of 8 offensive and defensive players.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, everything should kind of be eye in the sky.
Yeah.
NFL is considering rule changes to overtime in the regular season. Here's the deal with the postseason. Both teams get possession, even if the first team with possession goes down and scores a touchdown. Regular season, they're talking about maybe extending the time from 10 to 15 minutes because
they don't want ties.
They don't want, no, because they want to even out possession. So if I win the coin toss, history tells us that I win the game 57% of the time.
It's pretty good.
I think that's pretty
fair.
NFL doesn't seem to think so.
I mean, I think that
so
you win the coin toss, you have to have some sort of benefit from it.
Yeah.
It's 7%. Your benefit is 7%.
So now they're talking about, instead of a touchdown on that first possession ending the game, that maybe the other team gets a possession no matter what.
Okay.
fine. I'm not even getting into my whole sports art. Yeah. Okay. Here's the real topic that everybody's going to discuss for a while, and this may never even get to a vote. It has to get to a vote, right? It's proposed, then it has to be pushed into the position of even voting on, right? Like, does it even make it to the Senate floor if you're a politics person? And here's a bill. Now we're gonna try to get the bill to the Senate floor, and then the Senate will vote on it. So can the Packers even get this idea to pass the competition committee into the NFL owners' hands? If that happens, it needs 24 of the 32 owners to vote yes in order to ban it. So Packers GM Brian Gutekunst said, yes, it was us. We proposed banning the tush push. You like the idea or not? Getting rid of the play from...
No, I don't like the idea.
Okay.
I have been very outspoken about this. Learn how to defend it. Learn how to defend it.
But baseball, we screamed for years, learn to hit the ball the other way.
Yes.
That didn't happen. And so what did baseball do? Baseball said, we're going to kind of ban the shift.
And I disagreed with it. I think it's ridiculous. Learn how to beat someone
NBA
when they
doesn't let
decide
you play
to do something better than you.
Zone, really? I mean, you can play it creatively, but you can't park a defensive guy in the paint.
You can't park a guy in the paint.
There's a defensive 3 seconds as well. So
yeah.
if you're to play zone, typically you got somebody standing there in the paint. You can't do that in the NBA. There are always rules that, we say, oh, you're messing with the strategy of the sport, but they are done with the betterment of the sport in mind, to create more offense or creativity. Of course, I like this because I hate this, and I put it in air quotes again, play. This is not a football play. For the longest time, you were not allowed to aid a runner. You were not allowed to push somebody in the back forward. I don't even like when they do it 20 yards down the field and you got a pile of guys and here come the offensive linemen crashing into it to try to push the player forward with the ball. I don't even want to see that. So I'm not just anti-tush push here. I'm anti-rugby scrum in general. If I want to watch rugby, I'd watch rugby. This is not a football, an NFL football play.
No, it just hasn't been up to this point.
Well, what I'm saying is I don't want pushing in any way of an offensive ball carrier from behind. That to me is not,
but
should be part of the game.
There are plenty of times where the Eagles run the tush push and there isn't someone behind Jalen Hurts. They just do it so well that he goes in behind his offensive line and it still looks like a rugby play, but he's not getting pushed.
Well, there's always somebody behind him and on his sides. They converge, and now sometimes they don't have to push as hard, but there's always that reinforcement there. I agree with you. If the Eagles just lined up and went straight QB sneak and weren't allowed to push Jalen Hurts, they're probably getting a lot of those first downs anyway.
Yeah.
But when it becomes this wave of humanity that carries Jalen Hurts like 4 yards past the line of scrimmage, this is no longer a football play. This is a rugby play where you are able to pick a person up, right?
It doesn't feel like they're picking anybody up, but
sometimes
you should be able to get 2 yards on almost every time on a QB sneak if you're just going in behind your offensive line.
That's the Bills how easy that is.
I dislike it. Always feels like sour grapes to me.
I know.
Like, wow, we can't beat it, so we're gonna ban it.
Well, and look, it isn't even the Packers who it's everybody who can't stop.
So learn to do it. Learn to do it yourself. And then guess what? The Eagles defense will probably have as difficult a time stopping you doing it as other teams have stopping them. Learn to do it. That way you're at least like, okay, while your defense can't stop it, at least your offense can do it. How hard is that?
And now, dirty, difficult, and done. Sponsored by Performance Industrial.
Back to Dirty Difficult, done here. Performance Industrial, go ahead. Last word. You got something more here.
No, I'm good. Like, think about the flea flicker when that first happened. Think about the jump throw. Think about the toss now that quarterbacks do to a receiver crossing in front of them. Like, people have learned those haven't happened since the dawn of time. People have learned to defend them. I understand, but they're different. They're new.
Yes. My issue with the tush push is not that it's different and indefensible. It's that people are pushing the offensive player forward. Again, I've said it. I don't even want it happening 20 yards down the field. So that's my problem with
when you make pushing legal.
Yeah, right. They shouldn't have done it.
They brought it on themselves.
Shouldn't have done it in the first place. Paul George, convenient timing, now says he's done with his podcast to focus on the rest of the season. Sixers, I think I had that right, 20-38. They've lost 9 in a row.
That's terrible.
Joel Embiid is hurt. Paul George has been hurt this year. He's played in, I think, 38 of the games so far this season, and we've got fewer than 30 games to play this year. I don't know if he's trying to save his image and reputation in Philadelphia, knowing he's got 3 more years to play there. This doesn't matter. You're already out of the playoffs. If this were that much of an issue, you shouldn't have been doing it while you're an active NBA player in the first place. But we see Micah Parsons has a podcast, NFL player. Draymond Green has a podcast, NBA player. All these
Travis Kelce, right, obviously.
A lot of these current athletes have podcasts, and they do very well with them.
Very.
So to me now, you'd be like, okay, now I'm not going to do it. Well, the season's already over, dude.
Right.
And if I'm the Sixers, I might view you as, let's just shut you and Embiid down for the rest of the season because we're not going anywhere, and you aren't playing well anyway. All right. Let's take a break here on Onorato and Miller. When we come back, we are talking with storm chaser Josh Morgerman. We talked to him last year. It was a lot of fun. We're going to do it again when you come back on Onorato and Miller in a minute.
Great memories start with Alpenhaus. Amsterdam, Clifton Park, and High Adventure in Latham.
I'm Jeff Ukelek. I'm owner of Bevs, and we're a beverage center in upstate New York. You're just going to have that wow component when you come in, like, wow, look at this place. It's bright, it's clean, it has everything that I need. Consumer is king. Be able to provide them a friendly environment and a place to shop, no matter where they are, whether they're down here in Saratoga or whether they're up in Queensbury. You're always going to get the same experience when you shop at Bevs. At the end of the day, if you walk in your stores, you're going to see a lot of people that have a lot of pride.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alpenhaus.
Back on Onorato and Miller, and we had a lot of fun with this segment last year. Happy to be doing it again. Josh Morgerman, who is, I would say, out of his mind, but that would be disrespectful. There is no weather challenge he's afraid of, that's for sure. And he's joining us from the world's largest construction show, courtesy, as you see behind him, of James Hardy. And we'll get to that, Josh. I'm curious, you are Harvard educated. Are there people in your life, family, friends, who say, aren't you supposed to be smarter than chasing all these dangerous storms?
Yeah, I'm used to, after years of this, I'm used to being ridiculed, so it's totally okay. I'm numb to it. But yeah, no, I think a lot of, being a storm chaser and having that lifestyle is all the sort of angst and misery that you create around you, all the emotional wreckage. Like my mother is just, she's covered in emotional scar tissue now. She's numb from years of worrying, and I'm used to my friends just thinking I'm a weird eccentric, and now I'm okay with it, decades into this.
But your retort should be, yes, but it also takes somebody of my high level of intelligence to be able to do this type of work, right?
Well, I don't know about that.
No.
I mean, I guess there's different kinds of intelligence, but I definitely did not stick to the kind of like the Harvard mold. I mean, I just admit it outright. I'm definitely the oddball among my classmates. It's not a typical profession that someone comes out of Harvard doing.
iCyclone 1 is where you can find a lot of Josh's content, also known as the Hurricane Man. There's a reason for that. Are you up to 79 hurricanes now on the ground that you have tracked?
Actually, 80. So I hit 80 this year. So I've been inside the cores of 80 hurricanes and typhoons, which is a world record. No one dead or alive has been in so many. And yes, I tout that number. I'm very competitive about it. Storm chasing it's sort of like a professional sport, and we are competitive with each other. And I just always have to just emphasize that I'm top dog.
Okay, I'm in the Northeast, right? We're in Albany, New York, and so. Yep. Our weather team here at News Channel 13 just did a special on ice jams. Very different, right, than hurricane season in the South. But as you can imagine, there are plenty of people in the Northeast who are snowbirds. They have either moved south or they spend part of their time in the state of Florida and nearby. So this idea of building, I'll say a hurricane-proof home or just a climate-resistant home. How new is that idea, Josh, and how effective has it been?
Well, I think folks to some degree have always thought of this, but I think it's really in now because, we're just, the U.S. has had a string of really bad hurricane seasons. Okay. And then we just had those devastating fires, first in Hawaii a couple of years ago, then the ones in California. So I think folks are really thinking about this, how to build to be resistant to climate. Now, in my storm chasing around the world, only about a third of my hurricane chasing is inside the United States. I do a lot in other areas. And one thing I've noticed is in Japan and Taiwan, they just expect severe typhoons, that's their word for hurricane. They just expect them. And you know what? They just build for them. And what happens is you'll get a really bad typhoon in Japan and you come outside afterward and there's very little damage. And my takeaway from that is, okay, you know what? Damage is not inevitable. If you build properly, if you build in a resilient way, you could coexist with these forces of nature.
Okay, James Hardie, we know, has the #1 brand of siding in North America. So it's on the cutting edge of building these or making these products, right, that help to make a home as weather resistant as possible. How weather resistant can a home truly be, though? I mean, from what you just detailed internationally, it sounds like we in the United States could be better about this.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you brought up the siding because that is one of the most important things. So I just built a home on the Mississippi Gulf Coast, which gets like Category 5 hurricanes. And one of the most important topics was, okay, the materials that I used. And I did use Hardie siding because it's made of fiber cement. Now, I built in an historical district where houses have to look a certain way. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have wood siding. And my builder was like, no way, that's not climate resilient. We got to use something else. So we used the Hardie siding, which is fiber cement, but it looks just like wood siding. So you can have that traditional look. The house looks like it's 150 years old, but it's not. And the benefit to fiber cement is that it's, the Hardie siding specifically is that it's engineered for climate. So it is, for example, where I am, the formulation is resistant to extreme heat, extreme moisture, humidity, doesn't mold, doesn't rot. It's impact resistant in case flying debris from wind hits it, but also up north. Okay, so you folks in New York, you'd actually have a slightly different formulation of Hardie siding that is good with extreme cold and the extreme temperature fluctuations that you get there. So that's one of the cool things about the siding is that it is engineered for climate to resist the forces in your area.
JamesHardie.com is the place to go to find those products, to find more information about the company as well, and building kind of that climate resistant home. Like we've talked, okay, it's you're a hurricane man, but you just said it up north where we are, that extreme cold, it certainly plays here as well. How many times, Josh, in your life do you think you have gone into the center of a hurricane or close maybe? Because I don't want to put you all the way there. You're approaching the center of the hurricane. You've thought, what am I doing? I got to get out of this one. How many of the 80?
Oh, that's a great question. Okay, here's the really twisted thing about this lifestyle. The expeditions that I've been on, where the ones that I look back at with the greatest fondness, that I feel were meaningful expeditions, where I was like, wow, that was a great chase, that was successful. Those are the ones that had the most meaning to me. Those are the ones where I was freaked out and like, okay, I went too far this time. It's like it's a kind of a twisted lifestyle where the most meaningful and best experiences are also the scariest.
The content on YouTube is insane. Do you ever convey that sense of fear after the fact to your loved ones, that you were on the verge of, I don't know that I should be doing this one?
I try to downplay it a little, just not to torture my mother and my nearest loved ones. But there have been some bad situations. I was in a Category 5 hurricane in the Bahamas, and I was trapped for days afterward on a little island that just got completely smashed, and I was presumed dead. There were just rumors all around social media that I was dead. And when I finally got back to civilization days later, it was like I'd risen from the grave.
I don't know if there's anybody better to talk about these types of products, and obviously you've built a home that is weather resistant in a hurricane prone area. That's for sure. Josh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I'm excited because I've seen the worst of the worst. That informed my build.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I can only imagine. Hey, thanks for getting up with us early in Vegas. We appreciate the time. It was fun last year, fun again this year, and I hope we'll catch up again down the road again. JamesHardy.com and iCyclone, also known as Hurricane Man, Josh Morgerman with us here on Onorato and Miller. Thank you, Josh.
Thanks, Chris.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
The great thing about novices, no matter who you are, they're going to put all the detail in the world into your brand. I feel like they have been a big part of my success, making me feel comfortable.
This is Harrison Butker, Super Bowl champion kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs. Claim your crown.
And now, back to Onorato and Miller. Sponsored by Alphen House.
All right, Ash, in the time that we have left here on this week's show, we said we were going to talk about this crew. They are an incredible group. Sean, Seamus, and Simon Evans.
Love those boys.
They're in Tokyo.
They're in Tokyo.
Sean and Seamus are going to run the Tokyo Marathon. They'll be one of the first, because there are a few exceptions. Now, the Tokyo Marathon didn't used to allow tandem runners. This is the first time ever. And Sean and Seamus will be maybe one of three, I think, involved in that. Incredible.
Out seeing the sights today. Sean and Cy went for a run, I'm pretty sure. So it's like 7:30 p.m. our time. It's 9:30 in the morning over there. So they're out enjoying the sights before they run Saturday night here.
Our time.
Yes, Saturday night here, Sunday morning there. So we'll keep track of them. But look at the beautiful, you got to take advantage while you're over there. Not every day you get to Japan, right?
Yeah, that's for sure. An incredible experience.
So cool.
And look, they just continue to accomplish things beyond my comprehension as a pair. Good luck to them. I hope they enjoy. I know they'll enjoy it. I hope they run fast, as you say. Run fast, boys.